We got a trade. Let's see
With the 13th pick in the first round, the St. Louis Rams have concluded a trade with the Chicago Bears.
Where are the Bears going with this one, Mel?
They have to go Walt Harris. They need a cornerback desperately, and Walt Harris is the second-best cornerback on the board behind Alex Molden. They had major problems Dave Wannstedt's defense did last year in that area. They need somebody opposite Wolford. And Walt Harris, like I said, in this draft, there's not a lot of depth at the cornerback position. If you don't get Molden, Walt Harris, or maybe a Ray Mickens or a Jenkins, then there's a drop-off. And Walt Harris and Molden are the two top guys in this draft at that position, Joe.
Absolutely agree with you, Mel. I think we've reached the point in this draft where we have to be concerned, and the teams have to be concerned, is the man that we want going to be on the board. That's why the deal's been made.
With the pick just obtained, the Chicago Bears select Walt Harris, defensive back, Mississippi State University.
And Harris is almost 6 feet tall. Size fits the division, Mel.
Well, I rated him as the best athlete of all the defensive backs in this draft. Watch this move on Bobby Engram. I mean, this is an athletic football player with quick feet. And I think when you look at what he did at Mississippi State in terms of versatility, not only covering the pass, but also playing the run, tackling ability. You see the burst to the ball here, and then the leaping ability and the instincts. I think that's what Walt Harris brings to the table. Not only will he be in a position to make a play, he'll come away with the interception. Watch him here come up to support. This is against the outstanding running back Kevin Falk at LSU with the open field tackle. Look at that burst. And there he goes all the way. I mean, that's a special football player. It's a special play. Great players make great plays, not mediocre players. And that's what Walt Harris, that's why he's needed and a necessary component of the Bears defense.
I think he does a terrific job defending the receivers as well. Remember, this kid not only played corner, but he also has the ability to play safety. So you're really getting a twofer. You got a guy who can play outside for you with great quickness, as Mel said, but you also have a guy inside who can support the run. A lot of people like to feature 3 wide receivers now. Now you've got yourself a kid who doesn't have to leave the football field. It's a very, very good pick for the Chicago Bears at this spot.
Well, Chris, Dave Wannstedt talked to his good friend Jimmy Johnson yesterday and was very concerned that teams would jump in front of him to take Walt Harris. Walt Harris is a bigger defensive back than Alex Molden. Remember, they got Chris Carter, Herman Moore, Jake Reed to contend with. They went in the tank last year when Donnell Wolford went down. They absolutely needed a cornerback, and Dave was willing to pay the price to get it, Chris.
The Chicago Bears have selected Bobby Engram, wide receiver, Penn State.
So the Bears have certainly moved the ball on offense last year. Went defense in the first round, trading up to get Walt Harris in the 13th spot. Defensive back, Mississippi State. See, now what am I going to sing for? We got Mark Engram and Bobby Engram, who, like I said, some felt was better than McDuffie coming out, Mel, of Penn State, who was a first-round pick.
I like Bobby Engram. I think when you look at that size, everybody's caught up in that. But I'll tell you, this guy was productive. He was great in big games. He knows the position, does a great job of playing the football and making the spectacular catch, utilizing his smallish frame, which people say, he's short, but he is strong. I mean, he does have a good, solid frame for a 5'10", 188-pounder, and he's quick. And I think that's the difference. He may not have blazing 40 speed, but he's quick in and out of his cuts, has a pretty good burst. And I tell you, he does some things in the open field which will surprise you. I thought Bobby Engram was a better player than O.J. McDuffie at Penn State, and I'm amazingly shocked. I think Ray Mickens at cornerback and Bobby Engram at wide receiver, 2 smallish players, if you want to say short, and not great size, but in Mickens' case, great leaper, in Engram's case, polished. And I think this is a guy that's going to come right in and help the Chicago Bears, at worst as a third receiver, Joe.
I agree with you absolutely. Now, remember, they lost Jeff Graham, so they have a void there they need to fill. The other thing is I'd much rather have a receiver that's quick than fast. Because in a football game, he's not necessarily going to be able to use his speed, but he will be able to use his quickness trying to get off the line of scrimmage. He's touched the ball a ton, 167 receptions, 18 yards a reception, 3,000 yards, 31 touchdowns. What you see when you look at Bobby Engram is you simply look at a guy who has just been flat-out productive. And we're all a bit surprised that he got here, but it's a great fit for the Chicago Bears. Dave Wannstedt and his people have to be thrilled at this point that he's right there for them.
Well, he's a big game receiver and a cold weather receiver, something to keep in mind as he goes to the Chicago Bears. Let's go to Gary Danielson, who saw Engram play plenty in the Big Ten. Gary, you surprised that he waited this long to go?
A little bit, Chris. Everybody knew his speed was not like O.J. McDuffie type speed. But, he was the Terry Glenn of a year ago, making acrobatic catch after acrobatic catch. But if you don't have a quarterback, Kerry Collins throwing to him a year ago, Wally Richardson struggled a bit this year. You just can't catch a lot of balls when you aren't thrown.
And then an offensive lineman, Mel, from a school, Indiana, Pennsylvania, that's produced some good football.
Chris Villarrial was a 4-year starter at IUP, and of course he played in the conference that sent Lee Woodall to the 49ers, also John Mobley this year to the Denver Broncos. And this kid, did a great job at IUP. Dominant drive blocker, can play center or guard. Pass protection skills are kind of limited. He's not a great natural athlete. What really got him drafted was the fact that he had an outstanding snowball, and then he went to the combine and did 36 reps. Tested out as the strongest player available in this draft. He's got a good attitude. He's ready to play. And I think at this point in the draft, you're getting a small college kid with a lot of desire and a lot of raw strength.